Very few films got as much attention over the past decade than did superhero ones, namely ones created by Marvel. The Marvel Cinematic Universe was a huge part of American culture since the release of the first Avengers movie. However, while these films are generally without controversy and meant to be big spectacle films, one example shines above the rest in Doctor Strange. Many roles in film have been whitewashed, and one only needs to perform a quick Google search in order to find dozens of examples. However, the role of the Ancient One holds an interesting paradox of representation in media. The original Doctor Strange comic has the Ancient One as a Tibetan man, while the 2016 movie has given the role to a Scottish woman. While one may argue that giving this role to a woman is a sign of progress, an argument that is justified and correct, it ignores the whitewashing of the role and ultimately fails to establish representation in the film. Representation in superhero movies has been a contentious issue since the rise of the MCU, being as the universe of major characters is almost 70% white. Ignoring the issues of Black, Hispanic, Middle Eastern, and Native American representation, and looking only at the Eastern Asian ethnicities, there's a somewhat obvious reason for why Tilda Swinton, a white woman, played a role for a Tibetan monk. Money. It's not a controversial statement to say that America controls a large portion of the world's film industry. Hollywood is a name known to almost everyone on the globe, so much so that other states try to emulate them. For example, India's Bollywood and Nigeria's Nollywood. One of Hollywood's biggest markets in the past 2 decades has been overseas. Each mainline Avengers film has had at least 60% of their box office income from international markets. And on the other side of the globe lies a very large market, the People's Republic of China. In 1950, China launched an invasion of Tibet, eventually annexing the country. Since then, the Chinese government has been working to Sinicize Tibet, or culturally suppress the native population, converting them to their own cultural identity. If you follow world news at all, you've probably heard a little bit about the PRC's suppression of pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong and their cultural genocide of the Uyghur people. Now, talking about China in an essay about Doctor Strange seems, well, a bit strange. But all the pieces start to come together when you ask a simple question. Why not just cast a Tibetan for a Tibetan role? And therein lies the problem. China cannot allow casting a Tibetan. If Doctor Strange were to have a Tibetan monk, it would, in their eyes, be giving power to the Tibetan people. Authoritarian regimes cannot allow to give power to the people that they suppress, because in doing so, it weakens them, even if it's just a role on the big screen. That role holds power against the Chinese government because it holds legitimacy. If a Tibetan played that role, China, in their eyes, would look weak. This isn't a possibility for them, so they essentially blackmail Hollywood into doing it their way. Give us what we want, or lose a large portion of your income. Now, this might not seem like a big issue, but it is, and it could lead to a domino effect. At first, it's just not casting a Tibetan for fear of losing a little bit of cash because China would block your film. Then it starts to spiral. For example, in recent news, Disney got in a little bit of, quote, trouble for filming by Uyghur concentration camps and then thanking them in their credits for their live-action remake of Mulan. This blatant disregard for human rights for financial gain is destroying minority cultures. While we may cheer on the fact that a woman was playing a man's role, again, something that is rightfully progressive, we ignore the whitewashing so that our corporate overlords can squeeze a little bit more money into their pockets.
Hello, this is just me proving that this is my work. I did not steal this video or anything. This is my voice. I know I didn't have my face in any of the other parts of the video, so yeah. My script will be in the description, along with the sources I used, if I used them, and if you wanted to read up on them. Thank you. Have a good day.